Okay, good afternoon everyone. Kama kawaida mnajua, today I'm bringing you a guest. Most of you must know him, or for those who don't know him, he will introduce himself. One of the young entrepreneurs, politicians. And most importantly, he's an advocate and politician. Okay, let me not say much of what he's supposed to say. I welcome you to Ikue Updates, and we are live right now on our YouTube channel. So, tunaweza anza maybe na introduction. I think you're comfortable both languages.
Yes.
Even kama hadi tukiingia kwa yetu nyumbani pia, where it is difficult in choice of words. You can slide in a few words. So maybe you can tell us, you can introduce yourself.
Asante. Asante Ikue. Mimi naitwa Eric NAKHURENYA. Ni ukweli mimi ni mmoja wa vijana na viongozi katika kaunti yetu ya pia mimi ni wakili. But more importantly, I have been engaged in leadership forums, different. And more importantly, I also have a lot of passion for mentorship, mentoring young people.
Yeah, sana karibu. Our topic today is one of those that jaribu kufanya zake hapa na pale, and one time or the other anachukua twist and turn pande hii kidogo nasikia turn pande hii. Hiyo yote tutaongelea hapa kwa sababu tunataka atueleze vizuri nini hasa what is that up to. But but maybe we start with you saying something on matters leadership. What role do you play in leadership? Not necessarily.
Let me again maybe add some meat on part of my introduction. My home place nyumbani ni Kapchai, mahali naitwa CHLSJ, mahali mnasikia kuna KMTC.
Hapo ni karibu kwa mheshimiwa the late James Mkwe.
Hapo ni nyumbani.
Yes.
Na pia mimi watu wengi wanajua saizi kama advocate ni sawa, lakini my first training was a teacher. Nilitrain kama mwalimu na Mbeere University, and while there I was actually elected as a student leader. I was in charge of academic docket as an academic director, and I think that's where I honed part of my leadership. High school nilisoma Teremi, shule ya Papa Roma.
Papa Roma
nilisoma Teremi.
Also he was at Teremi, he was also at Kamsinga, FSK.
He left Teremi, then he went to FSK for his form, that is from 5, I think, from 6. Yeah. So that's it. Teremi is because I also happen to be the chairperson for the old boys. Sasa tukifika huko mimi ni mdosi.
I get you. No wonder ukitokea issue Teremi uchelewangi kabisa.
Tunafika hapo tunaongeleshana na administration na community. And I think now Teremi is okay, so we may not make it a subject. The school is now okay. I think we thank God. So far so good. Yeah, but then more importantly, I left the first job I got. First of all, nilianza kufanya biashara. Hii chwele hii, vitunguu, passion fruits, tomatoes, and all that. Before Sharif supermarket died, I was a main supplier. I was supplying Sharif's, I was supplying Creative supermarket. I was supplying Yako supermarket in ilikuwa hapo Bungoma na ilikuwa Kakamega. All those big supermarkets and hotels in Bungoma na Kakamega. I was their main supplier. Vitunguu, passion fruits, nyanya, and all that. The grocery section, and it has a lot of money. Most of our young people, they do not know that. Then when I left there, My parents were not very happy. They said they had taken me to school. Why am I doing the sales that ordinarily anybody who has not gone to school will do that? And I got a job in Equity Bank. I worked for 4 years, and I will tell people nilipata your kazi twice. Yeah, one day I'll explain why I got that job twice. One side politically, people nimejitafutia. Then when I left that, I was able to, I came back, I resigned, and I focused on business. I ran for an election in this county. I actually ran for Mkuyemu Ward in 2017. I didn't make it, but we were very, I think we put in the best foot forward. Then I left and I went back to law school. That's where my passion had been for a very long time. So went to University of Nairobi, finished 4 years, went to the Kenya School of Law, finished, and I got admitted. So I think Edwin Kwekwe is getting a concussion. I'm so many things together. More importantly, I love leadership. In 2015, the Commonwealth Youth Secretariat, I was involved in a program. First of all, there was National Youth Council, where I participated in Kapchai, and went up to regional level. I was even in charge of Kapchai in terms of leadership at the community level through the national NYC National Youth Council. At the same time, in 2015, I actually got trained. I moved into international platforms. I was trained by World Bank, I was trained by the Commonwealth Youth Secretariat, I was trained by the University of Minnesota in youth engagements and in community engagements. That's where my passion lies. Yeah.
Wow, that is deep, man. So, you've done all that. You've gone into the hustlers world.
Yes.
And so currently, what are you doing?
At the moment, I'm doing mainly legal consultancy. Today here I'm in Bungoma because I had a number of court matters in Bungoma. And you say legal profession, nowadays you can appear virtually, you can appear physically. We have our base in Nairobi, we have an office in Nairobi within the CBD. When you're in Nairobi, you can drop by the office. And here in Bungoma, we also have our network, so if you have a court matter, you cannot fail to have an office. In Bungoma here, I work with Makoha. Makoha is my senior, Amos. Okay. That's even where I undertook my PPH. So we have a good working relationship, and we have people who are able to work with us. Yeah.
Oh, very good, Eric. So as I told you guys, Eric has got this political element in him. And as we look forward to having him address it, nataka pia uaddress issue ya so far, I don't know, I've heard you're associated with an outfit that goes by the name Alternative. And now that we are talking about alternative leadership, kindly just break it down for us.
Nimesikia mambo mengi watu wakizungumzia about what alternative voice, alternative leadership is all about. Actually, it is a meeting of minds. It's a meeting of minds. It's a group formation, mainly by young people, but we have gathered enough storm now. We are opening channels even for women who are keen to get involved in community engagements. We have a robust engagement of young people, people who are out of school, people who are in their 40s, those are not youth. And yesterday, our chairperson is Ignatius Nyukuri, and a good number of our members, they were in Kenyatta University to engage robustly the youngsters, mainly from Bungoma, from Western, from Chamba and all that. And the objective is to just galvanize young people, community engagements, in terms of looking at how can we have a voice heard. For instance, Edwin, when you talk of alternative leadership, I think the focus is not just even in Bungoma. We have to also focus on the national government. We've seen lots of promises by the president, and the election is just coming ahead of us. The beauty of alternative voice or alternative leadership, we thought a number of outfits have always come up during an election year. And when you come up with an outfit during an election year, you do not get time to study one another. You do not get time to have proper formations. You will gather anybody and anybody and everyone, including people who do not have a shared agenda. So we decided that we will begin in a small way. We started by taking coffee. Actually, I'm part of the originators of Alternative Voice, and I don't have necessarily to take credit for that. It's a question of can we be able to come together and galvanize an idea and have that idea attract. The late Wamala Kijana used to say that a good idea can be made better. That means a better idea can be the best. And someone says, if better is still an option, then good is not good enough. So we believe that there are many other people who are coming on board. We do not want to personalize the outfit. We do not want to make it a political outfit. But I know that the focus will be on politics. It will also be focusing on social and economic aspect. It will be, in the current circumstances, we really want to run away from the idea of maybe focusing on politics or not. As long as you are talking about leadership, you cannot run away from politicking. And in any case, even people who say they want to take a back seat in matters leadership, and that's why, as a professional, as an advocate, I can tell you, Edwin, that a number of our professionals in this county, in Western, there is a huge disconnect between the professionals and the political class. Go to Nyanza, you will see that professionals can quickly come together. The other former CS for ICT is a gentleman from Nyanza who is currently in the office of the president, a tall gentleman, former CS, his name has just escaped, former CS in ICT. He was doing very well, and he could go to Nyanza and you will see so many professionals coming together. The professionals in Nyanza, the professionals in Central. In Central there is professionals, then we have the business community. In this county, if the president is visiting, you will see the political class meeting the president. They are the same who will be meeting the president on the ground. And for that reason, you will see a lot of disconnect. So the same thing they share with the president at State House, where some of us are not involved. When you come on the ground, there is no professional network. It is still the same people meeting the president. And at times, we have a feeling that perhaps if there is some bit of connection between the professional network, it does not mean that the professional network may want to take the positions held by the political leadership. So it is high time, and we are saying that those of us who are still youthful, those of us who are still young, we feel we need to create a voice where those who do not have a sense of belonging, perhaps for political affiliations, they can come and say, we are members of Alternative Voice, or we are part of the agenda of alternative leadership. And therefore we are saying, whether you are in which party, Alternative Voice does not block the door for anybody. If someone is in Fort Kenya, they are free. If someone is in DAP, they are free. If you're in UDA, like in this county, there are people in UDA, they are free to come and join. All we want to do is, can we also say our voice can be heard on a number of issues? For instance, our leaders have been so keen. Every time they want to transact, to prosecute an agenda, they wait during funerals. We are saying, can we have a paradigm shift? That's it.
Yeah, I think you're speaking my mind on very many issues here. But there's one concern that came up the day Ikwe posted that you guys were having a meeting somewhere in so najua Ikwe iko na mapanya kila mahali, so panya zangu za Nairobi zikaniambia kuna mkutano inaendelea mahali, and the concern was it looks like your outfit has a political backing, and more so some of the leaders who are aspiring to take up some positions in 2027. So just to clarify, is this outfit supported by one former governor, quickly for Ngamati?
You know what people do not know? That I am the founding patron for this outfit.
Yes.
And I indicated that I don't have to take credit about that. And I also understand that as long as you are galvanizing people, questions will abound, questions will emerge. For instance, Wangamati is a good friend of mine. I never supported him in the last election. I had my own reasons. Perhaps the reasons might change. In this outfit, we are saying whether you are aligned or non-aligned, for now, that is not the focus. People will be free to make independent decisions on whom they may want to support. But of course, the danger, the challenges that we face in this county, is, I remember when we were doing our coffee meetings, our breakfast meetings, and I mean, some people are saying someone has sponsored us. And I said, what? I'm an advocate, Edu. You mean I cannot get 1,000? I cannot get 10,000? I cannot host about 50 people? Or even 100 at my level? And I've run for political office, Edu. No doubt that as we progress, as we make it to be very attractive, there are people who will be very keen to get a slice of alternative voice. But that is not our business now. We have no problem if today the governor of Bungoma wanted to get a feel of what is our thinking. And already we are in media. Now we are here. We've been on Sudwe, we've been on TV. When you're talking about alternative leadership, it is not just a question of Bungoma alone. It's a question of, we've even had a chance to have a very good meeting with people from Western, especially Bungoma and Tanzania, and they reside in Nairobi. We are saying we have some of our people who are keen to get seats in the city, like Tim Wanyoni. But at times it's a challenge to locate some of our people. What is wrong if we can get an outfit that one is keen to upstage, to change the matrix of the status quo? Part of the people who are having an issue with this outfit is because they want to focus on the status quo. Anybody who is elected, anybody who is in a key position, will not be very keen to leave the trappings of power, whether they are performing or they are not performing. But for us, why we also, today I'm talking about alternative leadership. It means there is always an alternative to any given challenge. There is a reason why M-Pesa became a revolutionized agenda or project in this country. The reason is it made transactions very easy. So it was to solve a number of problems. Alternative leadership is intentioned that the focus should not be on who is going to be the governor alone. You can end up with a very good governor, but with a dysfunctional member, a dysfunctional county assembly, you will still not transact the agenda of the county in the best interest of the people. So as we move forward, I'm very sure that some of us, I think we have capacity to set the record straight. We have capacity to clarify any misinformation, any misrepresentation. By the way, your good friend Idmas has no problem, should not have a problem of engaging alternative ways.
Now, having said that, I know alternative means you are more or less dissatisfied with the one that is there.
Exactly.
And I'm finding myself wanting to know, why did you leave Fort Kenya? Because at the last time I checked, you were on the elections board. Were you the chair?
No, I think I just played a key role, a more elevated role than even the role that I ought to have played. I was a member of the National Election Board for the party. And by the way, Fort Kenya has a very good constitution, a robust constitution. Part of the thinking in that constitution was that of the late Wamala Kijana. If there is someone that I admired when I was growing up, it was the late Wamala Kijana. In fact, in one of my best subjects when I was in high school, it was actually biology. It informed me. The cover page for my book, it was that one of the interview of the late Wamala Kijana, and he was being interviewed in 1997. But I picked that and I covered it when I was almost in about 2003 there. He was being interviewed by the former member of parliament was being called Gatabaki, Honorable Gatabaki. That time he was the PA chair, PAC chair. I mean, so some of this transformative agenda, and you know very well that in 90s, when some of us probably were extremely young, this country needed people who stood up to fight for restoration of multi-party politics, restoration of democracy. Today, they do. We are in a new dispensation. There are people who fought for reforms in IEBC. In 1997, there was what you call IPPG, and people like Mheshimiwa Mskari Kombo, they were there. IPPG was inter-party parliamentary group to ensure that President Moi did not have veto powers on who becomes the chair of IEBC. And it's for that reason. Yes. And it's for that reason that in 2002, this country was able to get a president outside the ruling class, and that was Mwai Kibaki, of course, deputized by the late Wamala Kijana. So we are now in a new dispensation. That grant, and later on, the Kibaki-led government gave us a new constitution. He was coming from also the opposition outfits, and for that reason, we were able to end up with a constitution. So in this country today, the conversation has changed. We are no longer talking about restoration of democracy. We are talking about strengthening democracy. We are no longer talking about the language of democracy alone. We are also talking about the language of development. And that's why everywhere we are talking about empowerment. Any party, what it sold, must be able to rebrand. The reason why Everready is no longer in this country. You know, Everready had its factory in Nakuru. If you look around, you'll not be able to see Everready today, because the world has evolved. We are no longer talking about the normal batteries. We can charge our phones with that. We are having electric cars. I mean, there is so much that is changing, and therefore, if a party does not rebrand, today we are able to go live here. In the good days, we could not do that. So if you have an outfit that in the name, in form, and in content, you've not even made any adjustment, then you even lose the young people. For instance, in this county, we keep talking about referring to Masinde Mliro, we keep referring to the late Wamala Kijana, and the late Nabwana, by the way, he happens to be a relative. There are things they stood for. They stood for mentorship, they stood for community. When Nabwana was heading this county, at one given time you were aware that Bungoma County was in a position to lend the Queen some money. You know, that is something that we should have sentimental attachment to that we could that we could even lend Britain. I mean, whatever level that was able to lift the image of this county. Are we in the same position, or in a worse off position? So when we are talking about the need for reforms, we are no longer talking about constitutional reforms. They are there. We just need to strengthen. So you asked me about the party. Yes, I was a member. I left the party for many reasons that I gave them. One was rebranding, and I was also dissatisfied. Some of us, we worked so hard, tirelessly, and none of us could be, despite their commitments, despite promises here and there. And I thought we could take a back seat and say, it's okay, let's allow other people to run. It's not an enmity, it's a personal decision. And then it comes at a certain level, Edu, when you make a decision. You've grown to a certain level. You do not want someone to keep lying to you. You are your own man. So we've just come to a level where we are saying our voices can be heard, whether we are in respective political parties or we are outside. And the fact that we can create an outfit that has gathered conversation, it has gathered dust, it means we cannot be ignored. It means our voice can be heard. It means we are having a conversation that is constructive, that cannot be ignored. And that is what we want to do.
One thing you have said, that you do not want to be lied to. I want to link that statement to one that Lusaka said the other day, and he was saying we cannot continue engaging in which word? He used some word, I don't know whether it's Bukusu or Swahili, but some word likely to suggest that whatever has been happening, he does not like it. He wants some changes. So back to you. Looking at the way this county is being run, looking at the way the oversight role by the assembly, by our senator and all the other leaders, and even the way the executive is carrying itself, would you have something to say about it?
I think I may not really be in a very good position because largely now I've been focusing on legal consultancy. But yeah, the governor is a good friend of mine. There are a number of gaps that I keep raising, and we just hope that those who have been charged with the responsibility. You see, the current government has key people. We have one wing, that is the legislative, then we have the executive. All we wish to see is we wish to probably ask the governor to be more hands-on. I know Governor Lusaka is not someone who at times may be able to exert a lot of pressure on the people he works with, but he has a duty to keep reminding them that they hold those positions in public trust. When you say in public, when you hold a position in public trust, including the governor, including the president, it's a question of, if you hold something in trust of the people, it means you have to always advance the best interests of the people you're leading. The reason why we have devolution, and we fought so hard to have devolution in this country, in fact, it's one of the most transformative feature under the 2010 Constitution. Of all the progressive provisions, of all the salient features under the new Constitution, of course it's no longer new anyway, we've now done more than 10 years, having the establishment of devolution was very key, so that you have grassroots. I was just coming in, I saw some roads. When you walk around in this county and Kakamega, or even in other counties, you'll see some feeder roads that are now tarmacked. You'll see roads that have never been opened. There's a road in Chwele that was opened by my MCA. I happen to have interest in Chwele, so when I say Chwele, Baraza is my MCA actually, because I have some interest in Chwele. And then I also have my MCA in Kuyuni, my friend Mseveni, who's been here for a very long time. We hope he will be able to retire in the next election. I mean, there are some projects.
You want to retire him, or you want him to retire?
Not necessarily me. Not necessarily me. I think there are people. At times when you've served in a position for a very long time, there is fatigue generally. Whether you have delivered or not delivered, at times there is just fatigue. It's good also to hang boots and say another person can take up. But you see, like I indicated, those in power will always want to maintain the status quo. And any conversation geared towards upstaging or changing the matrix will always be resisted, will always be branded, most likely be profiled, even if the intention is well, even if you're well intentioned.
So as it is,
you will meet someone who is in their 40s, they're still insisting they're youth and they're holding youth position. When will be these Gen Zs and Gen Zs mainly now hold those positions? And when are they going to grow? Let me also clarify this, Edu. You will hear people saying this political party was started by maybe Wamalwa or Masinde Muliro and all that. When these guys, those leaders, those heroes were leading those political parties, it was very hard to get even money. They were fundraising. Our people were fundraising. They could get some bit of donors to support them. Today, the political parties are funded by the taxpayers. That information is not with a majority of our people. And therefore, political parties are public entities. They should not be personalized. But what are we doing in this country? The established political parties do not want new political parties to emerge. Reason? They want, there are people who are gatekeeping for them. So that if you go to Nyanza, people will insist if you are not in ODM, you cannot win. But you see, today, you can see a number of people in Nyanza who are getting positions without necessarily going through the traditional ODM party.
yes.
Here in Bungoma and Trans Nzoia, where it was a bedrock of our party, Today, there are many UDA, there are many, we have DAP, we have many other political parties, and you can run as an independent candidate. So for clarification, political parties, today as they are, they receive money from taxpayers. It is you and me and that Mama Mboga and that Boda Boda. Are they aware? When they receive this money, there are a number of programs that they need to run. The youth, they need to have their programs funded by taxpayers under the political parties. And we as alternative voice, as alternative leadership, we are asking those who are not like NAKHURENYA, because I'm not in any political party as of now.
You totally resigned from...
I am not in any political party.
Okay.
But we are reminding that those who are in political parties, we wish to see them grow. I do not want to see a situation where a young man in their 20s plays politics for 20 more years, you get to 40, you've been so good, been very good in mobilization, positions come, you are sidestepped, they give another person, they give newcomers, despite the fact you have capacity. At that time, they start asking you about papers and all that, and even when you have them, we are asking political parties, because they're still vehicles for development, personal development and community development. We are asking political parties and the gatekeepers in those political parties, and it doesn't matter how long they've been there, we are asking them that they have to rebrand, they have to be intentional to empower the youth, to empower the women, run robust programs, increase visibility, so that these people, when they are also engaged, you are growing in leadership. Take these youngsters to the neighboring country, let them learn about leadership. Take these women, you can even have a program and say, this time round, we are going to even give money to our political parties members who have been supporting this party and they're in business. You can always find a way if you have millions. So we are asking, we are creating a conversation where people should be able to understand that as it is right now, political parties get money. There is nothing wrong for people in those respective political parties to ask for accountability. Parties do not belong to certain political figures. They should be there to offer leadership and grow others. That's what we're asking.
Wow. Eric NAKHURENYA. Eric NAKHURENYA is almost, burning up the house, so guys.
But I have not even talked about, there's a program we've been running called RCD. And this is a program that has been able to run for more than 12 years now. Every year, we hold yearly conferences.
Where?
In Kapchai. RCD is redefining community development.
That one is a village entity. If you're
now
choosing to do it in Kapchai only,
no, I'm giving an example.
Why not other places?
That's why we are doing alternative voice. It's a county thing, it's a national thing, it's a regional thing. What I'm saying is, at our respective levels, we have capacity to run some of these initiatives. Even when we were doing for the RCD in Kapchai, we are bringing Mount Elgon, we are bringing Kimilili, we are bringing Sirisia, we are bringing some people from Kandui.
RCD does what specifically?
RCD runs mentorship programs, and we've been doing that for a very long time. We've been doing mentorship for business. We've been doing mentorship for business and leadership. Yeah, business and leadership and governance.
Okay, I think I've heard of RCD.
Yes.
It is one of the functions Governor attended.
He was to attend, but
the
members of the county government, they could come and grace occasionally.
And I like the bit where mentorship goes with the youth. That one does not go with what when you're 40
It actually does. It does. What if you're running a program for? If you're doing a program for farmers? At one given time, I told you that at one given time, I was selling passion fruits. I used to pick them from Ziwa in Eldoret, shipping them to Western Bungoma and Kakamega. Then I did some bit of research. I called for farmers engagement through the district relevant organs at the district level. We did some farmers engagement, and a few farmers picked up. I was even able to plant part of the passion fruit, except that I didn't sustain it for a very long time. The thing is, it's about the target. You can run a program for farmers. It is still mentorship. It is still guidance. It is still teaching.
So it doesn't really matter about the age.
It doesn't.
It has to do with someone's passion.
Yes.
And therefore you guys will just come in to encourage. And I would like to see the figures. Maybe next time tukikutana utakuja leo umejipanga uniletee figures. Kina nani, maybe you mention a few guys.
Let me just give an example. Let me just give an example.
Yes.
There are many young people who finish university, and you know, unlike in teaching where you can go for an interview and say I taught in this school during teaching practice, it counts as experience. And maybe you're an engineer, or you've done a program in other programs where maybe you've not had this field work engagements. What I used to do is you simply call and say, hey, Eric, I know you. I attended RCD, I even have a certificate. Now there is a job that is coming up, but I need a referee. I do not know anybody who can be a referee. Can I get a recommendation? Other than that, some of us have been blessed in a small or in a big way to run companies. I've been running a consultancy company for a very long time, for more than 10 years. We've been doing strategic plans for a number of institutions. In this county, in Bungoma County, I'm sure we worked for more than 200 schools. When we do that, we get paid. We have youngsters who have worked with me in those organizations, in those companies. So when I say part of our mentorship is about business and leadership, we know. There are those who you live and say, okay, we've identified you that you are very good in camera. Maybe if we get to a project where we need some cameras, some services for a photographer, a good photographer, we call some of the youngsters. We're able to plug in the same network. We're able to identify some of the young professionals in a given square. So that when you need something, you know that when you are looking for a good person in a specific field, then it is very easy.
So my brother, do you have one success story for this? Because clearly what you're talking about is very juicy. I'm feeling like as a person I missed out.
Let me give you one. Let me just give you one. You know, at times what tunasema tenda wema nenda zako. There is a young girl called Rita Chelungus. Rita Chelungus comes from Greenwood, and she's currently in the Netherlands. Rita Chelungus was one of our chairpersons for RCD. I was the founder of RCD, and RCD is founded again on alternative leadership. By the way, so even when I see people questioning, they don't understand. Some of us, it's a journey we've taken for many years. It's just like maybe we've made an evolution in terms of rebranding, and because of politics, people want to. But we've been there for a very long time. Rita Chelungus, as we speak, she's in the Netherlands. She did community engagements and policies at Kenyatta University. By virtue that we worked with her when she wanted to fly outside the country. And she was also part of our company network, now the other company that is far away from what we're dealing with.
Yes.
And she needed guarantors. It was during COVID. There was a window of flying out. If it closed, then she could not have flown outside the country. The person who came in was one of us within the company, who did a recommendation to guarantee her that she was working with us. We were paying her this much, and therefore, as she gets an opportunity outside the country, if she does her trade in terms of studies for about 2-3 years, if she comes back, she will still have a landing. Some universities demand for that.
Okay.
We did that. She was able to fly. When she arrived there, because it was at the height of COVID, she also called back and said, hey, because business environment had been destroyed. She said, Eric, now that we are here, they have told us that in case your company has been affected, let us know so that we can find a way of supporting you, because then there is no assurance that when you go back, you'll still get the same position. You get that bit of understanding.
Yes.
As we speak, she's still in the Netherlands. I think she's doing very well, and she's part of the success story. We don't talk even about that. There's another young man who, as we speak, is in the UK. I mean, at times all you need is information. As I sit here, there's a young person, about 2 youngsters, who are on the scholarship of the county government of Bungoma. As we sit here, we know that there's nobody who's going to be paid for school fees. on the county scholarship by the county government because of the latest communication by the controller of budget that county should focus on the other projects that are primarily under them, like TVET and ECD as a primary function. And for that reason, a number of kids who have been on scholarship now might have a challenge. I support two. I don't talk about it. One is that Queer Girls. She's actually doing her final leg. But the other day, when I realized they were asking for school fees, and I noticed that I was not quickly in a position. I spoke to one of the members of parliament, Honorable Jimbo Kalasini for Kapchai, and I told him, hey, I have this issue, can you be able to just step in? Because I have carried that burden since Form 1, and this is now for Form 4, and she's doing very well. I mean, some of these success stories, we do not necessarily talk about them, because we believe Tenda Wema, Tenda Zako.
Yeah, and I would want to actually appreciate you for that, because sababu unajua si watu wengi wako na roho ya kusaidia man. Sio watu wengi kabisa. I go that route and I know how it feels to be there. There are those who will come and be part of the success story, but most of the people ni wakuangalia tuna macho.
They do. Yeah. In my primary school, there are kids. I'm telling you, and until you meet people, you might even think 200 shillings, 300 shillings, 500 shillings is little money. There are kids in primary school who will be away, be sent. You've heard that primary school education is free. It is not true. At times there are exams for 200, 300, and if your child has not paid, even if it's public school, they'll stay at home. I pay for a number of kids. I normally ask some of my teachers who come in primary, just tell me, then don't send that child. It's 300, it's 500. I'll sort out. Their parents are paid for their kids. When we meet, 1 year down the line, they, especially now from my village, say, asante sana nilipia mtoto wanashangaa afukuzwi, because the amount involved is not so much. If those kids are at home, I mean, they lose. And I happen to be in the education sector. There are quite a number of people that we get involved. And luckily, at times you don't even use your money. There is Teremi network. Quite a number of times you realize that there is even a child. Every year we have about 1 or 2 babies. There is one you almost even got involved. Wanyonyi Humphrey from here, Kibabe University, near there. And I think he's now in Form 2. Some of us have been involved in those initiatives, and we thank God. So whatever position that you hold, I think there is always something to give back. If you cannot give money, you can give a word of encouragement. So if I don't have money to give, Edu, I'll encourage you. And if I can't encourage you, I can still pray for you.
Rico. So there we are. Anyway, time is in a song about that. So Eric, I know that you do not really want to take sides now, politically speaking. And Manisha, this outfit stays non-political for some time.
Yes.
Maybe till uko mbele mtajua vile mtajipanga.
The focus is not on politics.
It's okay.
If we get, it is not the only thing.
You have Joram on the table, a politician. You have Evans Kakai, a politician. You have the chairman, Ignatius. Ignatius is a serial planner for those things. Every election he is planning something. In fact, when we had when word came out that you had that sitting in Nairobi, the guys were like, Ignatius Nyuguri is the one who's planning that. You know, Ignatius Nyuguri is known for planning. He's very good at mobilizing. So, and I'm just saying, how long are you going to hold on to this? It is not political, because clearly this thing is political.
No, we've not said it's not political. We are saying politics is not the only area of focus. Nobody has said it's not political.
Oh, you have so many avenues.
We have many other things. Like when I'm talking about mentorship programs And at a personal level, I think if there is someone who's going to head that department, or who has already been heading that department of mentorship, it could be you as truly here. I do that out of passion. And there are many, many young people who are asking for an opportunity to get a platform.
Yes.
Even as we focus on the gubernatorial candidates, you know, when you bring in the Kakais, Joram was running for MCA, and probably he will consider running for MCA. There are many other people within that outfit who are actually members of Alternative Voice, who are advocating for alternative leadership, because we're also saying that leadership should be tied to values. Just like your shadow, you can never, even if you are a fastest runner like Usain Bolt, you can never run away from your shadow. We're also saying that I think it will be proper when we are having a conversation about leadership, and especially the leadership of the county, or the leadership of a constituency, or of a ward, we have to talk about value-based system, value-based leadership. And if we get youngsters in a given ward, mamas in a given ward, to elect a member of a county assembly who truly believes in pushing for their agenda, that will be a very big achievement of Alternative Voice. There are a number of us, you know, Edu, you even forget that during the by-election I had shown interest to run for senatorial seat in this county. I don't know why you're not asking. Oh, you're thinking I'm a lightweight.
No, I'm here to ask you.
And that time,
yes,
we were in the same party with the current senator, my brother, my good friend David Okon.
How are you?
All of us. No, we had an arrangement. Remember, I was also holding a key position in the party, and I was boxed in getting to an agreement. And I think it was also good for us to sit down and have an engagement with Papa Roma, with many other people within the political, within that political outfit. And we were just the two of us. Of course, now I said, let me take a back seat. When you realize that you do not have the full backing of the party, and with my bit of experience in leadership, a party also contributes a certain percentage. You are starting from a certain position. So you cannot just sit down and say, no, political party does not. It has a certain percentage. Then there is the image of a candidate. Then there is now the resource mobilization. There are many other things. There are many parameters that get into chasing for public office. So I was aware of that, and when you realize that perhaps the odds are somehow within the party are against you, you take a back seat and you reach strategies. So it should not even be a surprise that some of us might still make a decision at the right time and say, hey, we've walked this journey, we've supported many people also to be in government and all that. You remember in 2013, I was actually in charge of the Lusaka Youth Wing. In 2022, I was part of the strategy for the key leaders in this country now.
I want you to rate our leaders between 1 and 10. I give a name based on their performance, and performance is the role they are playing, and more so in relation to this region. For those who are at national level. Otherwise, it is based on roles. Let me start from the top. Speaker Wetangula.
Speaker Wetangula.
Performance yake?
Honorable Wetangula. Okay. One, I wouldn't want to perhaps rate someone in terms of percentage, but perhaps I can just give some comments.
Yes.
I mean, you see, when you're doing ratings, you need some bit of certain parameters, considerations here and there. So maybe you can just give a comment, because I'm also.
Role yake, actually, I'm one of those who regard him as the kingpin. And he carries himself as such.
We can proceed.
Yes. So, as a kingpin of the region, how is his performance?
Well, I want to rate him as a speaker, not necessarily as a king.
Okay.
Because that is debatable.
I don't know.
I think I want to focus focus on his role, it will be easier to deal with that.
How is he doing as a speaker?
As speaker, you know, speakership in this country is more or less, you get it through the backing of the president. As of now, I think he has the backing of the president is here. Otherwise, with the noise from ODM, with the confusion that is coming from Nyanza region, he could be having a lot of turbulence. He's an astute lawyer. He's Weta, the advocate, the lawyer. He's admirable.
Shrewd.
He's shrewd. He's admirable. I have no problem with that. You can have issues with the other areas, and I think people have their own strength and weakness. But as an advocate, as a young advocate, I think there are some aspects, even the choice of words, the way he engages members of parliament. He has a long history of having been in parliament. He understands the tradition, the standing orders, the law. So I'll have issues with some of his decisions, but I'll not have a problem with his level of competence. Because at times, in terms of making decisions, you are perhaps guided by political inclinations, and for him, he cannot run away from political inclination in as much as he's a speaker of the National Assembly, in as much as he's expected to be neutral, and given that he's our own son, I think I'll say that he will have to do that also as a survival tactic. Those who at times criticize some of his decisions, including myself, at times we are not privileged to know some of the landmines that he navigates. But in terms of competency, as a person, as an advocate, as a speaker, I think he's doing well. However, I have a problem with some of the decisions passed by Parliament. But you see, he will come and say, hey, I'm a speaker, I'm a neutral person. So again, the blame should actually fall squarely on the members of Parliament. Yeah,
you have said that severally. Lusaka, your friend. Or our friend Lusaka.
You don't understand.
Say what did you do, Lusaka?
Lusaka ni rafiki yangu sana. By the way, I think when my name comes up anywhere where Lusaka is, whether in privacy or in public, he has comments about Eric Nakhurenye. I'm sure even him, he has my personal rating for the time I've interacted with him. Lusaka is very good in terms of mkikutana ni marafiki, mtapiga story, mcheke. Hata ukienda kwa kama uko na shida, unaweza toka kama umecheka. It does not mean your problems have been solved. They might be extended to the next time. So he is very good at managing people. I just want him to be more hands-on. I don't know, but I want to see a Lusaka who is more hands-on. I think that's where I differ with him.
Our senator,
Wakoli. Wakoli should step out of the shadows. He's yet to carve his name as a person. He's worked so long with the current speaker and having his PA. I think it's understandable to see him operating under the shadow, the big shadow of the big man. But once you are elected, people quickly expect that you are going to carve your own niche, carve your own image. Maybe that is something that he needs to work on. He needs to work on rebranding. Well, I think maybe if he paid me, in our time, some of these things we need to charge. Strategy, you can actually charge, and there are times you charge us a good amount of money. So as a friend, as a brother, he's doing his first term. He can articulate issues on the floor. Perhaps he just needs to increase, not necessarily his visibility, but in terms of connecting with the people and creating his own brand. As of now, he's still operating under the shadow. It's up to him to make a decision on whether he will, people will still seeing him as Honorable Etangula, or will still start seeing him now more visibly as a senator of
Okay, let's talk about Mama our county, Mama Catherine Nobiliaga.
Honorable Catherine should work hard to get out of the image that his team is building of Unisi. He's my relative. He's a good friend of mine. He needs to be careful with his handlers, with her handlers. I think that is what I can say. Then he also needs to be aware that having served for the second term, people get fatigued. And if I were her, if I were in her strategy team, after 5 years and after 10 years, either you ought to have identified a constituency and choose to run and wrestle with men. In this county, we've never elected a woman as a member of parliament at the constituency level. I thought perhaps people like Reginalda and like her today will now be planning to run in a more elevated position, so that they stop complaining about receiving limited funds and affirmative action. They now have capacity, like Catherine has capacity to run for a member of parliament in a constituency. But again, that is something that we leave it to her and her team.
Okay. Wow. That is Eric NAKHURENYA. We've actually gone almost, we've done double the time ile tulikuwa tumepanga tufanye hii interview. But being our maiden interview and the very first one I'm having with my brother Eric. Eric has been, I've been wanting to do an interview with him, lakini kupatikana kwake imekuwa ngumu. So the best English word is elusive. It might not be the best, but that is the word I would use. And yeah, today tumebarikiwa tumempata. So I would have loved that you do the same analysis for each and every leader, but there are quite many. And so maybe you can just tell us, now we have Lusaka as our governor. You know what Lusaka is, and if we are looking for an alternative, without mentioning names of who is there right now in the race or not, which kind of a leader should we be looking at?
We would not want a situation where, you know, the leaders, when they greet you like this, when they leave, you have to count the number of your fingers.
That one has taken me straight to Mheshimiwa Dan.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is not very easy to lose your finger. So for me to use finger figuratively, it means we are talking about a leadership that has values.
Yes.
We want a leader who will be intentional. In these counties, let me talk about Bungoma. In this county, now we are no longer in the youth category like myself, and some of us, God has elevated us. We can still survive, even if we can survive as professionals in whichever fields that we are in. But when you look back, if you take your kids to good schools and you ignore the neighbor's child, when your child will be leaving banking, I'm a former banker, so at times people think bankers have money. Or now that I'm a lawyer, people think advocates have a lot of money. So as you leave your workstation, as you go home, when those kids will be going home to come to see you, they'll be, along the way they'll be met by those who didn't go to school, those who didn't probably succeed, those who were ignored by the society. So we should not have this thinking that you can amass wealth, you can be in leadership and forget about supporting the masses, because eventually the masses will catch up with what William Ruto was saying, the dynasty, even though now he has his own problems with handling that. Yeah, so we want a leader who will be intentional in terms of running the county government programs. We want a leader who will cut down on roadside declarations. You see, when you're running a government, it is different. There's a lot of consultation. We will want a leader who will also focus so much on stakeholder engagement, so that if there are nurses, if there are medics, if it is health, what are the issues? How do you engage? Do you wake up and say we're employing every casual worker? And then as you do that, then if the casual workers were 100, then they're about, by the time you get a list, they're 1,000. And you have no capacity. So I mean, you will need someone who will be intentional to focus on the objectives of devolution. You just go back to the constitution, the architecture, the drafters of the constitution, and were Kenyans. They took time to draft the constitution. So just go back and say, what was the intention of devolution. It is to serve the masses. We've had a number of trial and error about even the youth engagements. You know, to get someone in charge of the youth in any government, whether national or county, get someone with passion. It is undoubted that Ababu Namamba was more intentional on youth affairs in the docket of sports and youth, unlike Murkomen. It is even worse with the current guy because perhaps his passion is not even visible. Maybe he's visible in other areas. In this county, the youngsters, you don't even remember, and it's just been given recently. So we are talking about people who will be intentional, people who will be honest. I mean, it's very hard to be honest in politics. But you see, once you win an election, if you've used lies and you've taken the seat, we want people to be intentional. I can't sit here and say so and so will be a governor. I mean, I'll be misleading, and at my level, I'll be misleading members of the public, and people are very bright. But you cannot run away from your shadow. If you have built a track record of dishonesty, a track record of lies, a track record that is not really in tandem with Article 10 of the Constitution, national values and principles of governance, then we'll be having a challenge. You don't wake up and go and elect an MCA who is largely dishonest, who is extremely corrupt to the core, who is a nepotist, and then expect that when they get there, they'll allow free of even doing tenders in those wards. We do not want that. We want a governor who will tell the assembly that, hey, we are here, members of county assembly, hizi roads zote musijifanyie. How do you prosecute the agenda of young people and women if all the jobs, all the contracts in wards, especially construction, either for roads or buildings, they go largely for members of the county assembly? I'm not saying that is what's happening. I'm just trying to ask. We're just having a conversation. Yes. When I say like this, it does not mean that that's what is happening in Bungoma. But it might also mean that there could be wards that are largely 100% controlled by the members of county assembly. And for that reason, you cannot win anything in that ward. So how are you going to empower this lot that is not employed, that are in business, or they are struggling to be in business? Even if you trained them in formation of companies, even if you gave them money, you do not give them jobs, that they'll not be able to grow.
Yeah, my brother. I would like us to wind up.
Yeah, we should.
And there is one person who has been on the neck of Speaker Wetangula by the name Natembeya. Natembeya, I notice he is positioning himself as the alternative of Wetangula. He is positioning himself as the person who should be taking up as the Luya Kingpin. What are your comments?
I was coming in the morning to work today, and yesterday the president was in Kibra constituency. He declared that access to IDs is now going to be free. If you remember the speech that Governor Natembeya gave during Chebukati's, he put the president on defense, and he told him, Mr. President, you cannot abolish vetting because of the good reasons. And you know, he comes from a security family. I can tell you, even when people think that Natembeya differs with the president in public, once you've served in the rank that Natembeya served in government, you remain a project of the government. The president takes seriously some of the opinions advanced by people like Natembeya and other people who have been in security. And for that reason, it is very easy. People are even saying that the president was responding to Natembeya's remarks. I mean, I've picked up that conversation.
It's barely a week.
It's barely a week. It's barely a week. Natembeya has been forthright telling the government that it should be able to stop abductions. The other day I saw Raila Odinga walk into government in the name of an MOU, and then one of the agenda is asking the government to stop abduction. That is ridiculous. To stop abduction does not need an opposition figure to walk to government. I mean, You don't need that. To end corruption, it does not wait for Raila Odinga. To audit national debt, you do not need a Raila Odinga to walk to government. It is the government agenda to prosecute the agenda of its own agenda in the interest of the masses. So Natembea, I think, and I'm telling you that there are people who might even just be questioning some of us, but I think we're just on the right track. It is good to speak the reality to the powers of the day. Natembea is just engaged in an ordinary conversation in an honest manner. Ordinary people, if well engaged, can share extraordinary ideas. Ordinary people might not have the capacity to run a government, but they have ideas on how the government should be run. And in my view, Natembea, one is in a different generation. If you compare him with other leaders, the Musalias, the Railas, the Honorable Wetangula. You see, because we are back home here, it is easier to quickly compare Natembea and Wetangula. But I don't think that could even be his focus. I am not Natembea, so I can't speak for him. But I have seen Natembea challenging the ODM leader. He understands that there is a generational shift that is happening. Even the generation of Uhuru and Ruto, they want the presidency on generational platform. It is the same thing. For Natembea, I think he's playing the regional cards, and the cards that he's playing, that is resonating very well regionally and within the country. So I want to encourage him to continue speaking realities in an honest manner.
Okay, so maybe just to wind up, I would like you to look at that camera and just give your closing remark on the key topic here, which is actually alternative leadership, something that we have talked about at length. And yeah, for maybe those who are just joining us, just tell them something. Ya kufunga kipindi.
Asante sana, mimi naitwa Eric NAKHURENYA, mimi ni wakili, mimi ni kijana ya Bungoma. I believe in alternative leadership. I believe in leadership that is tied to values. I believe that there is a need to have a conversation on having a paradigm shift in our ideas. I have had a chance to even tell our people, at times when we engage in, when you're talking about leadership, it is not, the focus is not just public leadership. Those who are in education and they are leading our institutions here or across the country, they are in leadership. Those who are in business, all our markets, all our towns, they have leadership in terms of the members of the business community. Those members can be able to pursue alternative leadership so that they get right people to serve in those dockets so that our markets can be best managed. When we are talking about alternative leadership, we are creating a conversation that those who are not necessarily in existing political outfits can also have an arena where they can transact their business, they can still speak their mind and be heard by the political and non-political wing. We're also saying that those in political leadership, those in public service, those who are holding key positions, they should be put to task to understand that they hold those positions in public interest. And anything you hold in public interest, you should be able to always be guided by advancing the best interest of the people that you are leading. And we are asking our people, we are asking those in leadership to understand that we are creating a conversation as youthful people, as young people, because if we do not create this conversation, there is nobody who is going to give us this platform. Some of the platforms that exist, especially in political parties, they have denied us a chance to speak our minds. And therefore, we have an opportunity to engage with the masses and also have a say in who is going to be the governor, who is going to be the senator, who is going to be as a member of parliament, women rep, MCAs, and in other cadres. So when time comes for politics, we will play politics. But we want politics, we want a leadership that will focus on economic empowerment, because in this country we have now moved from the aspect of restoration of democracy, from political reforms, from constitutional reforms, to a constitutionally democratic nation that now must focus on economic empowerment. Because without the conversation around economic empowerment, we will not move forward, even if we advance democratic engagements in terms of the conversation. So I want to thank my brother Edu for giving us an opportunity that we can still have our voice in matters that affect us. You can take a back seat, but I can assure you that those serving in public service, especially in political circles, whatever policies they pass, whatever laws that they pass, they affect all of us. Asante sana.
Mbona vile akifika hapo kwa points anakuja sura kidogo. Anakuja sura kidogo. So ladies and gentlemen, asanteni sana for joining us. This is Ikue Updates na tumekuwa live leo na Eric NAKHURENYA ambaye ni wakili na vile vile ameongelea mambo mengi, ni mambo ya mentorship na sana hiyo alternative leadership which amekuwa na drive point yake sana kwa the young and upcoming leaders, kwa sababu amekuwa anaongelea nyinyi. This is basically our maiden live interview. Hii ni ya kwanza.
It's true.
Tangu nianze hii maneno ya kutengeneza studio, and yeah, we're still building pole pole. Let's pray that we are going to have another one very soon. I'll be giving you an update before then. I'm sorry so much did not happen in this one, especially those promotions, the live stream. But next time we are going to improve. I want to ask my brother Eric, kindly just be on standby. I would like to invite you again on maybe to more on the same topic or other topics. I know you're one person who's very flexible. I'm very much interested in CSR activities. We might also be interested in covering some of your events. Whenever you have an event, Ikue will be on standby to just cover the events and make it, spread the word, the good word. So thank you very much. And kama kawaida tumekuwa hapa leo. This is Ikue Updates na this ndio ile channel yenu mtakuwa mnapata hizi live stream. Tunasema kama mbaya